Welcome to Dr. Jarrett's Science Shenanigans. This is the teacher edition where we sit down and really look at dissecting the benchmarks the grade 5 students are going to need to pass their end of the year state assessment. I'm excited to work with you. I'm excited to share my knowledge of the benchmarks and what the students will be responsible for, and then how you'll make it be able to come alive in your classroom. I'm looking forward to working with you. I've been passionate about empowering educators in science education for many years. My dedication to science education also led to my dissertation, which focused on developing impactful lessons for science improvement. Since 2007, I've worked with over 75 schools across Florida, assisting in boosting grade 5 science scores. Together, we're making a difference in how young minds explore and engage with science. I'm so excited about you being here with me today. The benchmark that we're going to review right now is SC.5.E.5.3. Distinguish among the following objects of the solar system: sun, planet, moons, asteroids, comets, and identify Earth's position in it. The great thing about this benchmark is it's also assessed as benchmark, it's also a fifth grade benchmark. So therefore, both of these items should be in your textbook or in your resources that your school has provided for you. The 5.2 benchmark says recognize the major common characteristics of all planets and compare and contrast the properties of inner and outer planets. The comparing and the contrasting part, that's what kind of trips up the students sometimes. So it's important when they're having application of this benchmark. So once you have taught the vocabulary, once you may have read some information, you've seen some videos, now they're going to actually apply what they have learned to a multiple choice type items. It really needs to have some types of graphs, some graphics. It could be a chart. It could be a Venn diagram where the students are comparing and contrasting not just the planets, but the characteristics of those planets. Well, I know you're like, well, what characteristics do we focus on? Great question. Great question. That's where you're going to go down to the bottom of the item specification and you're going to look at the content limits. And in the content limits, it's going to tell you specifically which characteristics the students need to know, which are their surface composition, whether they're mostly solid or gas. So we usually talk about the rocky planets and the gas giants, and they're usually split because of the asteroid belt. So looking at that, what is the presence of the atmosphere? What type of atmosphere, what type of gas is on that planet? Can we live on that planet? Yes or no. And the students have an amazing time finding out that the further the planets are, the gas is really, really bad. So we can't live there. Also, what is the relative position to the sun? So that's where you start lining up the planets based upon where they are. And then where's the sun? So is it the third planet from the sun, the fifth planet from the sun? So the students will have to know that. And does this planet have moons or rings? The students find it to be really fun once they start finding out how many moons are with certain planets, especially Jupiter. That's like a hot topic item. Also, what is the temperature on that planet and what is their relative length of a year? So usually we'll get a blow up science sun and we'll have somebody in the middle, and then we will take string and proportion it out to about what it would relatively look like. And then the other students have either a paper with the picture of that um, space object, as in the planet, asteroids, comets, and then they measure out how far they are from the sun. Also, that gives the glimpse for the students to then be able to go around the sun and make a determination of how long did it take for Mars to go around the sun versus Uranus to go around the sun. And they later learned that that is a revolution for as a part of one of the benchmarks that will be coming up later. Students do not have to know the specific quantitative astronomical data. So, again, we're not using any type of numerical numbers where they have to know the specifics. They will not be questioned on that, so they don't have to memorize that. But they do have to be present with that information in front of them. They do need to be able to look at a chart or a graph and then make a determination about the characteristics of these different planets. So you really want to give them multiple exposures to the planets, their characteristics, and then how is that compared. Um, and that will help them to master the concepts of the solar system. It would also be important for you to have that up in some type of a hallway where it has the characteristics underneath each one of the planets, and then how far away from the sun is that planet. That's always very helpful for the students so that when they're walking through the hallways, they can always see science information in the hallways and in your classrooms. The vocabulary terms is extensive vocabulary that I was able to pull out of this specific benchmark, and bringing in those content limits and assessment limits to fully understand what specifically the students are going to be asked about. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson for SC.5.E.5.3 and for 5.E.5.2. The kids get really excited about this. Space is something that they can't just go out there and touch. So we have to bring those into the classroom so that the students can visually be able to see and understand what is happening in outer space. Have an amazing day. Thank you so much again for watching this session. The book, Unveiling the Power of Impactful Science Instruction, is available on Amazon, and it is a glimpse into my dissertation investigating the improvement in science achievement among fifth grade science students when using the instructional model.